Alrighty, it is 8:20. We're tracking your money moves in 2026. Of course, it is February. That means many of you may be observing what's called Frugal February.
Yeah, it's a time to reevaluate your spending, but experts say that you don't have to go to far extremes to save. That expert is, of course, Matt Eilers. You are from Medalist Wealth Management. Thank you so much for joining us again this morning.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's great to be here as always.
Of course. So let's talk about why being frugal in February doesn't mean we have to completely cut things off, right? We don't really have to batten down the hatches all that much. So
100%.
Tell us about that.
We were just laughing, offset here with the ladies from the American Heart Association and talking about the topic, and they said, gosh, we just got done with dry January, and now we're talking about
we gotta
frugal
save money.
February. But what it's all about is it's not about cutting everything, it's about what cutting doesn't matter. And the way that I think about it, like we have been through a horrible winter, right? And our eyes are on the spring. In a sense, we're kind of taking a little bit of an angle of, let's do a little bit of like early spring cleaning for our finances and cut out the things that are really going to affect us negatively in the long term.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have that cabin fever kind of after. I mean, the 16 days a lot of us were inside when it was really cold. Now a good time to reevaluate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love kind of the way that you put it, where it's spring cleaning, but with your finances. What would you suggest are some of the best spots to start looking at and say, all right, this is the first spot to clean?
Yeah, let's audit where your money is going. So frugality is all about being intentional with your spending, not about just cutting everything out. So let's look at where are we losing money. So number one place to check is debt. So credit card debt, auto loan debt, student loans. Check any of this high interest debt to see, should we, number one, establish some sort of a debt payoff plan, or are there ways that we can leverage some of the interest rate changing environment to shift some of that around to save a little bit of money? That's a really, really good place to start. But then the other one, which I think I'm guilty of this, I know many people out there are, is it's the world of subscription services.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We are living, it's everywhere, right? So whether it is subscribe and save, the Amazon truck backing up to your house every day, that happens at the Eilers household, or it's just like maybe the streaming services that you have.
Yeah.
And I know I've seen a lot of different apps that are out there and services to help you kind of go and get an inventory of what all those different things look like, so you can understand, all right, is this really something that I'm getting value from? Every now and again, we go through this exercise at my household as well, and we figure out, gosh, we've been paying for this streaming service, and I don't know that I've even turned it on in the last 6 months. Do we really need to be kicking out, $15, $20 a month? So just understanding that, because even though it doesn't seem like a lot, every dollar counts. Because just think, if you save $20, $50, $100 a month, and you can just divert that towards maybe paying down a credit card or something like that, that is just a little money move in February that can make a big difference in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the streaming services. I actually canceled 3 streaming subscriptions over the last couple of weeks, just because I'm like, it's not adding any value. I'm not watching the shows. I just have it to have it, So good tip there. You were talking about some of the things that actually do matter when it comes to being frugal. What are some of the other areas that don't really matter when it comes to being frugal?
Yeah, so what really doesn't matter is we don't want to use frugality to slow down our saving or our investing. So I feel like this is a good time to almost ramp that up, because it's about being intentional with your spending. And if you can divert a dollar, away from a subscription, for example, towards long-term saving, that's a really big deal. So whether you're saving for a debt elimination goal or saving for a short-term goal like a down payment on a home or an automobile or higher education or even retirement, those are some big moves that can make a big deal. And I think that being intentional about directing those dollars in some of those directions in February is really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when we're talking too about frugality, we've talked a lot about things that we can just cut entirely. Subscriptions, for example. What are some things that people might be able to kind of add frugality to, but still keep, kind of cut costs on things while still keeping it around? Yeah,
I really think that when we look at just our spending, that's like understanding where your dollars are going every single month. That's a big deal. And I think we need to understand, what are we spending on, and let's categorize it from needs and wants. And when it comes to the needs, let's make sure that we're directing those dollars where they need to go. But when it comes to the wants, let's just ask the question, is this worth what I'm paying for? And if it's not, can we now turn that into something powerful for our financial plan. And that's the key behind all of that, Amber, is having a plan for how we're going to direct these dollars. Because if in February we're identifying, okay, I've got $300 now this month that I can do something different with, whether I cut subscriptions or what have you, where's that going to go? And that's where having a plan comes into place. So, but I believe like this is our time to double down on saving and on paying down debt. Having a plan to reduce debt and increase saving, that's the direction that you want to go. You don't want to be the opposite where you're increasing debt and reducing your savings, because that just works against you in the long haul.
Yeah, you've mentioned a couple times that you've been on our show having that plan.
Yep.
I think my question is especially if we're thinking about the frugality of it all, it can be overwhelming to start a plan. How do you zero in on the things you really need to focus on, and how do you formulate that plan that's best for your family?
I believe working with a professional is the best way to get started, because we all have these puzzle pieces sitting on the table in front of us of our financial life. And a financial professional, a planner, can help you sort all those out and put them together, because trying to do it the DIY method, it is overwhelming, and a lot of people get that analysis paralysis where they're just like, I don't even know where to start. That's where firms like ours come into the picture. We can say, all right, we can sit down and help you sort this out. We get in front of a whiteboard and we map out, here are the things that we should tackle, because we know small hinges swing big doors. And sometimes these little tweaks that we can make just in the month of February are a big deal. But I would encourage someone, reach out to your financial professional or someone that you know, or a firm like ours, and they can help you get started and understand and kind of block out the noise and the emotion and clear your mind on, all right, these are the things that we need to focus on, and now here's exactly the tactics that we can deploy to get those done.
Interesting.
Absolutely. So, of course, we're coming up on tax season, too.
Oh, yeah.
As we're preparing for that, what are some things to keep in mind throughout Frugal February to make sure that we are ready for when that comes around?
Absolutely. Okay, so two things here, Amber. This is a great question, because like we're already thinking about it. We're getting these statements in the mail, and we're starting to figure out who's going to do the tax.
Just got my W-2 the other
W-2s,
day. Yeah,
right,
starting to roll in. So
I want to challenge the viewers to really think about taxes in two lenses. Number one, tax preparation is about looking in the rear view mirror. Tax planning is looking out the windshield. And we should be figuring out how to get ready to file our taxes, which there's not a whole lot that we can do at this point to change that, aside from making some, IRA contributions, things of that nature. But from a look forward basis, speaking with a professional to understand, for example, how can we take advantage of some of the tax savings measures that were in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act? Am I making sure that I'm contributing to the degree that I should into my company-sponsored plan, or an IRA or a Roth IRA outside my plan? These are all different things that are really important, and the degree that they affect everybody is different. And I really encourage people to talk to a professional that engages in both financial planning and tax planning, so that you can understand how you should approach this. But right now, hang on to all the paper that comes in. Keep a record of everything. Get ready to get all that together, to bring it to your tax professional. Have a conversation with them about, hey, what are some of the things that this coming year I should be doing inside of my financial life to lower that tax bill for next year?
You mentioned our company-sponsored plans, whether that be a 401k, Roth IRA, anything like that. What are the things in this Frugal February, as it pertains to that, should we be looking at when it comes to those? Because there are often some pretty good matches from your company, too. How can we take advantage of that while reevaluating things in the month of February?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you brought this up. A match is free money.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we're getting our hands on it, but also understand what options you have inside of your company-sponsored plan. I'll give you a quick example. Over 80%, I read a statistic, over 80% of plans out there that are offered have a Roth option available. So you could have a traditional 401k, and you could also have a Roth 401k. A lot of people don't even know they have that at their disposal. So understanding, number one, do you have any of that, so that you can consider, should I be, contributing to my Roth 401k or Roth 403b? Or, should I have a certain percentage amount just to traditional and go to the Roth? This is all a really, really good reason to speak with a professional to figure out, how can I best leverage these tools that are given to me? Because, the match is a big deal. Sometimes you get it on Roth, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's just the pre-tax dollars. But I always want to tell people, don't leave money on the table. If someone's giving you free money, let's make sure we're taking advantage of that and investing accordingly to your level of risk going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely some very great things to be able to keep in mind throughout February. What is the main tip that you want to leave people with throughout this month as we're getting into these next couple of weeks?
Well, we're just coming off of January where everyone was having like goals that they set for the year.
Right.
Let's pick one goal for February that's going to affect you financially and stick with it. Whether that's increasing your retirement savings by 1 or 2%, or engaging in a debt reduction plan, or increasing savings or cutting that one thing. Pick one thing. I know we've talked about a lot in this segment and it can feel overwhelming. Zero in on one thing that you feel like is going to move the needle for you, stick with it, and ride it out through this month.
It's kind of like how my mom said growing up, don't try to eat the whole pizza, pick one slice at a time
That's right.
and go around. So,
That's right.
All righty. Well, Matt Eilers with Medalist Wealth, we appreciate your time as always. We'll see you next month. Thank you.
Sounds great, guys.
All right.